Hello, welcome back to Beneshi Live Noding. In this episode, we're gonna try to break this down. This is actually quite a simple setup, but if you look at this, look at the node tree, and then you look at the result. Even though the result is really cool, and we can actually add more to this, and it's gonna update accordingly. So it's kind of dynamic. It's really cool, but if you look at the nodes, it's kind of intimidating a little bit. But I will try to give a breakdown and try to build this from scratch. So what exactly this is going on? So basically the setup is working on an object of type text. Okay, and then it is applying the same animations, but there's just a slight delay in between of each action. If I draw the diagram, it's basically these two nodes, delay Falloff and evaluate Falloff. It's kind of producing this this value between 0 and 1. Especially this guy, evaluate Falloff, basically producing this value, and the value got passed on into this text object output. But the one that's actually doing the hard work is actually this delay Falloff. So there is the time and there's the offset. If I draw the diagram, it's basically where the action is gonna happen, but the delay and the durations, the duration for the actions is specified here. So 20 frames for every actions, and the delay in between of every actions is this number right here, 5 frames. So yeah, that's actually quite simple, but this is I know it's probably not easy to understand, but if I try to build it from scratch now, so delete everything, file, save as, this is a text, anim, delay, offset, and compositing, turn on animation nodes, and I will just turn off always, turn on the last three. So we start from nothing, and I can start with a text object output. So text object output, by default, this doesn't produce anything, but you need to specify some kind of text. We want a multiple text, so we need to create some kind of text list. So let's make like just 3, Robbie, Jade, and Moxie, and then pipe this text into this guy. So we have text data that these objects can produce, but still producing nothing because we need to specify the actual objects. The easiest is to use object instancer. So this one, turn off copy from source. This one, specify it as text object. How many instance? Of course, 3. We just plug this in. It's gonna create this get length. It's gonna give a number 3, plug into the instance, and then this guy we just plug into this guy. So now we have our 3 text and text objects being generated. They are on top of each other, of course. I think the easiest is to use offset. So either offset X or offset Y for each one of them. Okay, so how do you like to offset it? I guess use range float. The amount, the same amount. The start is 0, step is let's try this, just plug in into the y-axis. There you go. Step can be -1 because it's going down. So Robbie, Jade, and Moxie. And so we want to animate it, whether extruding it, just by extruding it. That's a cool effect, or we can also just use a size. Let's use the size for now. It's also quite interesting effect. So how do we control the size? Let's try. Let's use our delay. So there is this Falloff. and there is a animate, not animate, there's a offset, I think. So normally I use the offset vector and offset matrices, but in this case we can really just use delay. So delay Falloff, and then evaluate. We need evaluate Falloff. This node is actually placed under the same group. So there's evaluate, and then there's all these different Falloff. Each one of them is quite interesting to study, but the easiest to use is the one up here, and then use evaluate. With evaluate, you can produce a number between 0 and 1 from the strength, I believe. Because I mentioned about offset, because if we use offset, you can see there's this green value right here. We can just plug in the green value and we get a magic number here for the transform and vector. In this case, we kind of want that for the strength. The strength is going to be controlling the extrusion or the size. Okay, so that's kind of complicated, but it's not really. So let's try. We need at least a frame. So the frame goes into delay Falloff. And since this one, the green we cannot just plug it in there because it's not giving any number. But this one does. If we check it using viewer on these strings, you can see there's a number going from 0 to 1, specified by this number also. I think the index. I believe this should be turned on. So the amount. So it's become the amount. So we have 3 tags. Let's write 3 tags, and then you can see the number here based on this default delay and durations. We have the number going from 0 to 1, 1 by 1. So that's I think we are getting there. The total number should go in here. There's other options like transformation matrix, locations. Don't worry about that. We just worry about this number right here that we can plug into the size. There you go. So we get that effects. It's only like 0 to 1, and then that's actually pretty much it. If you want to, let's say, instead of the size, keep the size as it is, but the offset we can use it. Now see, that's the effects of the offset in the X. We can also extrude it. Extrusion, turn it on. So now we get that effects that we just saw earlier. And yeah, what else is missing here? If you notice, there's also this offset right here. What is the offset for? If we have delay and durations, the offset apparently can affect the time here. If I'm not wrong, if I give like a random number into the offset, something like this, you know, like 3 random number, like maybe between -50 and 50. So now we have some kind of a random offset. Let's give it like between 0 and 50. There you go. So now there's some kind of randomizations. There's an offset on top of this delay. So if you want that. What else is missing is the extrusion. Currently extrusion only goes from 0 to 1, which is not very interesting. There is a quick way to control the number using this right here, map range. The value goes from 0 to 1, but we can map it into anything, like into any value between 0 and whatever value, min and max. So there you go. Now we have more control. Yeah, what else? Interpolations. There's also interesting. If you interpolate it and give it like a fancy functions, now the animation's a little bit more lively. There's some kind of ease in, ease out. So that's also quite nice. But I think the offset is kind of interesting, I found, because we can give like a list of float value and specify our own offset maybe like 10, 30, and 50. So now we have actually more control over the whole animations. We can make it so that Moxie appear first, I think. So let's try 30, 20, 10. So Moxie, Jade, and Robbie. So that's interesting, right? But we don't need this because the delay fall off sometimes already doing its job anyway. If we add more people here, like a Jim, Jude, who else? Omar. There you go, it just worked. Very cool. And of course, this guy right here, you can manually add it, or you can provide like a bunch of lists of text, and then this effects will just works. And yeah, so that's basically how I build it from scratch. It's not like easy, but it's simple enough once you understand it, and it's also simple and powerful, right? And this is only animating between 2 keyframe, I guess 2 states, controlled by this 0 to 1, like a normalized value. This is the value that we are evaluating from delay fall off. Remember, you also have a lot of other fall off, wiggle and all that. Wiggle, see, if we just plug in frame into evolutions into wiggle, we get a wiggle. It's very interesting. Wiggle, fall off is very, very powerful. And there's other fade, random. Okay, random, we know random. There's one being controlled by the sound. So this is actually quite comprehensive, quite interesting for you to try. There you go. But this is a quick example of how you are using the delay fall off, evaluate fall off, and to control some kind of simple basic animations on the text object. But this can be anything. Remember, the output can be any. Basically, it can be a vertex, can be a dynamic, can be transform, or can also be some kind of animations. But like I said, it's only, I think, animating between 2 states. So if a character is doing like sitting down and standing up, you can, I believe you can control it using this method as well. But there you go. This is anyhow a quick example. Hopefully you find this useful. Let me know what you think. If you have any question or feedbacks, let me know. Thanks again. I'll see you next time. Bye.